Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 15th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you had a good Wednesday. Hopefully you had a good hump day. Hopefully you humped and you didn't get humped. Unless that's what you're into, then by all means. My day was all over the place. It was a lot. I will say it was good. I've got maybe things I could complain about, but overall it was a solid day. I don't mind it. We'll start at the top and we'll run it down. So of course we get up, we go over because we're doing our dog sitting, our dog sitting stuff. And this is a bit of a twist because today was the cat day. We checked on the cats, what their enclosure was looking like. And we came in with a better strat than we did from the first time we did the dog sitting cats situation. No escapes. Everyone stayed in the enclosure and we're good. Which was nice because it was nice just to see the little kitties, the cats. I will say Cristianaldo, much cuter when he's just watching me clean the litter box, and not hissing at me. But we have an understanding. We know what is good for each other at this point, and we have good balance. And then it was good to see Luna. She's doing well. She was quiet, but it's okay. I think I woke him up. It was a bit of doo, and I rushed in. So yeah, they're good. It was good to see them, check on them. The dogs are solid. I will say I've noticed a trend. The only I would say quote unquote hiccup is I don't know if this time around I'm just getting more unlucky or whatever, but there's more dogs out barking. And I've also noticed that with one of the dogs, Vince, who normally doesn't give me that many problems, he's a little bit more communicative when he's outside. Like he wants to yap. He wants to bark at the other dogs. If he's not necessarily having to go right away or that bad, he just wants to bark a little bit. He's a little chatty about it. And I'm like, brother, it's especially when it's late at night, especially when there are other dogs, other neighbors. I don't want to make a scene. This is my house, bud. Chill. But overall, things have been good. Things have been smooth. We love it. So, post that, we, get ourselves together. We get to work. We're back at work and it's still crazy. There's still cardboard, in too many places. We have moved some of it around into the rafters, so that's good, but still pretty deep. And today was interesting because I'm in busy mode. I'm in hey, we gotta get this shit done. I gotta lock in. And I think it's a bit of a different aura than maybe some people are used to who are maybe newer to talking to me or whatever. One of the friends that the coworkers I've been giving a ride to, they're like, you seem happier today. That's good. And I was like, I was happy yesterday, but it's just one of those things where I don't look it when I'm in the thick of it. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of tried to say, hey, today I'm going to balance it out. I'm giving out hugs. I'm rooting for the homies. I'm catcalling them. Come on, come on. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be a homie today. I was talking gym shit with my passerby homies as they were coming through to their break. So I was in a good mood in that regard. But by the same token, another person who usually has kind of been working under me, they were supposed to have a moment, and I'm spilling the tea a little bit. I'm gonna be as vague as as I feel like I need to be. But they were supposed to have blown the coop. They were supposed to have gotten a new position and move on to bigger, greater heights, new things. And I was happy for them. Good for them. They're going to be making more money. And I'm not going to lie to you, they're going to be out of my hair. You know what I mean? They're going to be off my bald ass scalp so I can get to work and just be on task. You don't have to fucking worry about shit. Because it was getting to a point where I'm kind of feeling like I'm a therapist. It's kind of could we just get to work, let's do this thing, especially right now. It's busy. It's crunch time. You know what I mean? We got to fucking catch up. I don't have time to hear about your fucking shit, man. I want to lock in. I'm not going to lie to you. Let's get this work done. I don't want to yap. So they came back, and like I physically had a reaction of laughing and shooing at them, which I know that's fucked up because I see them here and they're not out on their job, and I already know why they're here because they're not doing that job anymore. They've come back to me, and like not necessarily me, but the department that they're in that sends them to me. And I'm like, okay, man, what's up? And he's telling me how he got back here, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, cool, dude. Like, well, good luck with that. And before he went, once again, I'm just being real here. I was starting to realize something. We have a stinky gym scenario. And that I'm dusting off a name that only the long-time dedicated listeners know about. Stinky motherfucking gym. That's a hygiene issue. That's a fucking personal foul in my book. I'm working in a very small, cramped situation, okay? Like, and if you are stinkier than the trash, that's a problem. That's a red flag. And this is the second time I clocked it. So I'm like, I'm on 10 a little bit. Let's say 8. And I'm like, if he's going to be back here, he's going to keep his little job or whatever, fine, okay. But things are about to change. Because like I said, man, this is peak mode. This is my freak mode. You are not going to fuck with this shit. You are going to lock in with me and we're going to get this done, or we're going to have problems. I'm not going to be Mr. Rogers about this shit no more. I'm over that. So sure enough, hours went by, he comes back down, and I address it. I try to address it as nice as I can, but like I said, I'm not having a stinky gym situation. If you know, you motherfucking know. And he took it well, and I was like glad about it. Like I said, I tried to be nice, and we moved on. So, I mean, that was the epitome of my Black Air Force One energy. I'm like, look, dude, I just need you to lock in with me on this shit. And then could you also then go do the trash on the other side? Because I'm working this. And then we got it done, and he went on his merry way. Awesome. Love that for them. I'm wishing them the best of luck. I'm sure I'll see them tomorrow. And like overall, the communication was great. Comms were good. So I don't think there's any problems. I don't think there's any static, but I had to address some shit. I'm not gonna be meek and mild and quiet about it. Anyway, after that, the second shift helper came through. I'm just gonna call them helpers. Obviously they're my coworkers, but you know what I'm saying. And they had asked me the other day, they said, hey, is it okay if I bring my stereo, my speaker? And I was like, yeah, man, that's totally fine. Sure. Because, I mean, it's just going to be the two of us working over here. We're not going to get bothered too much. And I will say it was cool because, yet again, he has the same flow, the same energy of like, I'm going to press the button and then, let you do your thing. But then we did a switch where he would kind of hop in and do it. And then I was just pressing the button. And I'm like, all right, cool. Hell yeah. And I'm peeping his music. Like, I'm peeping what he's listening to. And it was cool. He like started off with some techno stuff. Then he like switches into some metal. Then he like goes into like some like rap and into some punk. And I'm like, hey man, you weren't lying. Like you really do hit the whole spectrum, man. I'm fucking with this. I was bobbing my head while I was listening to my podcast. So that was great flow. It was weird how like we just had the two different helpers and it was like a tail of the tape and how it was so different. Like I'm like, I can fuck with you, bro. Not that I really don't. I fuck with both of them, if I'm being honest. But it's just one of those things where it's like, this is good. I don't have to really overcorrect or do anything. I will say he was blaring that shit a bit too loud. And at one point I was like, yeah, just turn it down a little bit. But, hey, overall, good. So, all that to say, we had a lot going on in just my job department. But on top of that, and maybe this is maybe a reason why the vibes were kind of nice and stabilized, even though it was so busy, and I had to do some talking to. We had a food corner. Well, I had a food corner, and we had food catered to us. Now, I'm not sure where it was from. It was some kind of taco truck situation. I'm gonna just preface this by saying I thought the food was pretty good. Was it the best food I've ever had, cater-wise, from the job? No. But I will add this. Y'all know how I do like to hustle for tickets. Whether I'm going to use all the tickets I get or not, I just like kind of getting them. I don't know. It's like, oh, cool, yeah. I got to say, this time, I did not try to get any tickets. I was given 2 extra tickets that I did not use. So let me just say that, and then you can infer what you want from that. Now, I can't really remember all the food that was given, like, on the line. I'll just kind of, like, summarize, hit the highlights. There was an empanada, chicken empanada. They also had a cheese one with the salsa kind of thing. It was fine. Those sauces. I will say everyone kind of said theirs was pretty cold. Mine was also kind of cold, but hey, that's catering, baby. There was like a couple kinds of rice. Let's see. The big standout, the big focal point was the taco. There was steak, pulled steak, pork, and chicken. I got steak one. Let's see, and all kinds of fixins we could put on that thing. There was like a half a cup of salad mix that we got that you could put either ranch or Italian. And there was some mashed potatoes that I would say kind of stodgy, but they were fine. There was, what else was there? This chicken mix thing. Like, I think it was, I'm sure, authentic, but I don't know. It was okay. There was a fruit salad, which looked horrendous. Looked like something someone's grandma would make. But, like, hey, teach their own. It had some marshmallows involved. Okay. There was a little spare rib bit that you could get. That was pretty yummy with the sauce. Very yummy. And then I would say another highlight was the strawberry cake, in which we only got a sliver of, but that was pretty yummy, pretty good. So that was a whole spread. I would say it was pretty good. Overall, I wolfed it down Kirby style, so I can't sit there and say anything bad about it. Shit, almost ate a bone. If it was that bad, why am I fucking chortling? You know what I mean? Come on now. But, I like I said, I asked around, everyone was kind of like, hey, you want my ticket? I insist. Like, even at the end of the day, someone came up to me like, hey, I got a ticket, do you want it? I was like, oh no, I'm okay. And they were about to insist. I'm like, I have 2 tickets right now that I'm not using. And they go, okay, all right. So that was my day, at least in terms of my day at work. Pretty dynamic, no? Not your typical. Am I giving you a little different? Am I serving? Am I the drama? No, I'm sorry. Let's see. Post work, we check on the dogs. They're good. Everything's solid. And then we go to the gym afterwards. And it's been such a busy week, not just at work, not just with my life, but at the gym. I know I said that in a previous episode, but it's crazy. It's a Wednesday. Still no access to the Smith machine. I'm getting walled out. It's crazy. It is what it is. I was able to get on free weights, so I just did 2 sets of what I usually do. I did heavier weights this time, not like the heaviest. We're lifting some 60s and throwing those around, 60s into 50s. Just because I'm realizing, okay, we are committed for this week, or at least until I think Friday, doing a reduced workout. We're halving that shit. I don't love that, but I would say overall it's feeling pretty good. I haven't felt like, oh, I'm losing all my gains or anything like that. It just, I want to work out more and I just kind of can't right now. And overall it's not been too crazy. So I like that. But, it does suck to miss out on things, but I guess in a weird way, what I'm getting at is it's lining up with this busy ass week at the gym because everyone is fucking working out. Now I'm hoping, knock on wood, that for the rest of the week, it clears out. Usually people hit it hard for 3 days and I'm used to seeing them and then they kind of start to dissipate. They kind of need to take their rest days. And this is when my freak mode fucking is here and keeping me going and I get more room. I get to actually hit my Smith machine. You feel me? So, it's all part of the master plan. You know what I'm saying? They called me crazy. They called me a freak. But no, that is how you get your fucking pump. That's how you get your peak. Anyway, gym was overall fine. Cowboys make do, too. And, it was this, solid hour little workout. Cardio was cardio. It was fine. I will say I leave sweatier because right after the treadmill, I'm ugh, I'm all sweaty. And usually getting on the elliptical and the bike is active, but I don't sweat as much. So it's kind of nice. I kind of miss that already, but it is what it is. So yeah, wow. I feel like I've yapped more than I should have for my personal bullshit. But this episode, besides a little bit of read along, should be what I hope shorter. Once again, knocking on some wood. Hopefully there's not an edit where you fast forward and it's 40 minutes later. Anyway, let's do our startup. Let's get started. buddy. Yummy, yummy. Fruit salad. Yummy, yummy. You know I made a Wiggles joke. Today. Anyway, from NPR. Supreme Court hears case that questions major plank of voting rights. In 1965, President Lyndon Johnson signed the landmark Voting Rights Act, declaring that today is a triumph for freedom as huge as any victory that has ever been won on any battlefield. But over the last 12 years, the increasingly conservative Supreme Court has hollowed out that law, leaving only one major provision standing. Now that provision is in danger of being struck down too. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act aims to ensure that minority voters are not shut out of the process of drawing new congressional districts. When the law was passed in 1965, there were just 6 African American, 4 Hispanic, and 2 Asian or Pacific Islander members of the House of Representatives. None of the identified representatives were from the Deep South. The Congress started out with 63 African American, 51 Hispanic, and 21 Asian or Pacific Islander representatives or delegates in the House. Much of that change has been driven by rules of the road under the Voting Rights Act. All of that could change, however, if the court removes the guardrails to redistricting that it endorsed just 2 years ago. Indeed, if the Supreme Court either nullifies Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act or makes it much more difficult to enforce, recent studies indicate that Democrats could lose as many as 19 congressional seats in the process, putting control of the House effectively out of reach for the foreseeable future. Specifically, at issue in Wednesday's case is a 5-4 Supreme Court ruling from just 28 months ago, which upheld the Voting Rights Act's framework for drawing new congressional district lines every 10 years. That case was from Alabama, where the state had refused to create a second majority African American district until ordered to do so by the court. Wednesday's case is from Louisiana and has a nearly identical fact pattern. African Americans comprise roughly 30% of Louisiana's voting population, but of the state's 6 congressional districts, there's only one where they can and do routinely prevail in electing a candidate of their choosing. For years, the state legislature fought creating a second district where minority voters could win. But after the Supreme Court's decision in the Alabama case, the Louisiana legislature saw the legal handwriting on the wall and drew a new map that created a second district in which African American voters would have a realistic chance of electing a candidate of their choice. Normally, that would have been the end of the case. So this is where there becomes a rub, because they're saying, well, you're doing it now, and that's a problem. So we are going to go and take this all the way up to the court. That's how I'm interpreting it. But a group of 12 self-described non-African American voters intervened to challenge the redistricting as racially discriminatory. Like, what about us? You're infringing on our rights. Like, oh, okay. And at the arguments last March, some of the conservative justices seemed to be having an attack of buyer's remorse. Chief Justice John Roberts, just over 2 years ago, wrote the court's majority decision upholding the redistricting provision of the Voting Rights Act. But when the Louisiana redistricting case was argued last March, he sounded more than a little doubtful. You think the drawing of this district was not predominantly based on race? Asked the incredulous Roberts. It's a snake that runs from one end of the state to the other. Louisiana Solicitor General Benjamin Aguinaga replied that the Supreme Court has long said that partisan gerrymandering is permissible, but racial gerrymandering is not. And here, he said, the motivation was explicitly partisan. The lines, he said, were drawn to create a second minority district and to protect 3 key Republican incumbents in the House, including Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Pressed further, an agitated Aguinaga replied, "It's an election year. We're talking about the Speaker of the House. No rational state gambles with those high stakes in that situation. So essentially, that's why we're doing it. We're allowed to do it. But you guys already know how I fucking feel about gerrymandering in general. It doesn't matter what flavor or reasoning you want to try to back for this. I don't care if, like, well, this version has been deemed legal or not. Boo that shit. That shit's fucking fucked. We all know it is. And we also know that Democrats never do well with it. So it always winds up fucking coming back. So if you're ever rooting for any kind of liberal thing to fucking happen, good fucking luck with that. But anyway, let's fucking continue. Amazingly, however, the justices did not decide the case then. Instead, on the last day of the term, they ordered rearrangement in the case, or re-argument in the case, I'm sorry. Only this time they added this question. Does the state's intentional creation of a secondary majority-minority congressional district violate the Constitution's 14th and 15th Amendments, guarantee of the right to vote, and the authority of Congress to enforce that mandate? To answer that question, Louisiana has now flipped positions, and instead of defending the map its legislatures drew, it is arguing that the redistricting provision of the Voting Rights Act is unconstitutionally discriminatory. The jurisprudence keeps whipsawing us back and forth, said Louisiana Attorney General Elizabeth Murrill. She maintains that the court's Alabama decision essentially boils down to, well, if you're engaging in remedial map drawing, you have to think about race, but you can't think about it too much. That's an impossible guideline. But Janai Nelson of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund will try to convince the justices that now is not the right time to bail on the last truly effective provision of the Voting Rights Act. If Section 2 is overturned, Nelson argued, it would be utterly devastating. It would allow for racial gerrymandering to happen with very few checks. But to be honest, as horrific and utterly undemocratic as that result would be, more concerning is what it would mean in terms of the court's fidelity to what it once called the crown jewel of the civil rights movement. Now, I'm going to stop here because I do think that this is where I land on this. I think upholding it is good, but I guess kind of just getting to my 2 cents now while we're on it. I think that this is the last fig leaf that we're fighting over, the last plank of a fucking broken home. Like, this is all fucking dilapidated and useless. Like, conservatives have found a way to permeate through this, around it, all over it. And if they take it, okay, like, are things going to be so much worse? Maybe, but the things are not good now. They are already allowed to gerrymander this way and then just do legalese to say, well, we're not being racist. We're not doing this on racial lines. It's just, partisan. So, once again, that's why I fucking hate it, because it is inherently racist, if you ask me. It is a racially driven thing. There's no way to just fucking take that out and extract it. But the fucking Supreme Court seems to be able to do it. That's their fucking superpower, I fucking guess. I don't know. Like, this does make me mad the more I think about it, because I have to think really hard. It's just not easy. I hate this shit. Anyway, just why the court ordered re-argument in the case is unclear. There are a number of theories. First and most obvious is that the fifth and decisive vote to uphold the provision 2 years ago was cast by Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And in a concurring opinion, he said that at the time that there should be some time limit to the redistricting provision, and it may be that he thinks that time has come. A second possibility is that the court's decision upholding the voting rights law just 2 years ago was not as firm as it appeared. Indeed, court observers were surprised by the outcome, as Roberts has in the past consistently opposed the Voting Rights Act. And some have theorized that Roberts and Kavanaugh, the two conservatives in the majority, didn't want to rule against the voting law just weeks before the court struck down affirmative action in college admissions as unconstitutional. I do like them bringing this up because it's one of those things where it does show that these motherfuckers like to parade, especially like some of them. Like the Clarence Thomases of the world, they know what camp they are in terms of like what kind of conservative. They are capital R. They know they are hard right. Like they are down to like do that kind of shit. But someone like Kavanaugh, someone like Roberts, these guys like to like LARP like they're like quote unquote moderate or something at times. It's like, no, you guys are all in the same camp pushing the same bullshit. I fucking hate it. And you see it on the liberal end too. Keegan is kind of the moderate of them, of the three. Sotomayor does kind of fall along those lines sometimes. And Ketanji Brown Jackson, she's just down to doing her. She kind of rocking her shit. She's capital L liberal, capital O D, Democrat, whatever you want to say it. But at the end of the day, they all kind of hodgepodge around the same kind of causes and shit. They champion the same kind of things. So when it comes to this, they've been attacking the Voting Rights Act the entire time, but they didn't want to look like they were being racist. They didn't want to get booed hard. It's just like with the Roe v. Wade shit. And I've talked about this before, where you go through the cadre of cases that they go through in a season over time, and you just see that they are kind of doing the things that they want to do, shooting the shots that they want to shoot, especially with a supermajority. But then they also kind of try to lower the temperature down and say, hey, aren't we just arbiters of justice? Aren't we just like true purveyors of the law? No, dude, you're pushing agendas. You're always pushing goddamn agendas. None of us should really listen to this dumb shit, but we do. We will. Who cares? I mean, Donald Trump barely does. This might be the last branch that potentially keeps him in check, but he doesn't have to really worry about it. They're gonna fucking bumper sticker most of the shit that he wants anyway. We've seen that happen already too this year. So it's like whatever, man. I guess there's a third possibility. Did I read that? I don't think so. Let's read it. A third possibility is that the court was simply unable to reach a majority agreement late in that term, as it was being bombarded by dozens of cases filed by the Trump administration on the emergency docket. Observers are watching to see what the court does this time. So yeah, I'm glad I got to say my take along the way there, but I mean, it doesn't look good for the Voting Rights Act as it is, so whether or not I'm rooting for Section 2 to stand or not really doesn't matter. This just does feel like the Roe v. Wade shit in a way, where it's like, yes, I want that to stay. I want that law to be a thing, but we've seen them attack abortion rights, women's rights, like every fucking way that they can. And they're going to continue to do so pre-Roe v. Wade, post-Roe v. Wade. And we've seen that. So, I mean, it just is what it is. These motherfuckers are just a flood when it comes to pushing what they want. And they know they have the juice to do it. So they are. So, yeah. Starting off hot. And now we're doing like a Trump story after this. So I love that. I'm taking a water break. I'm losing my voice already. Okay, from CNN. Trump says Argentina bailout contingent on his political ally, Milei, remaining in power. If President Donald Trump is worried the $20 billion economic lifeline he's sending to Argentina in the middle of a U.S. government shutdown might cause him political headaches, he didn't show it Tuesday. I mean, I think my G is riding a high on this Israel-Gaza ceasefire, what he is calling an end to the war. I mean, I think, like, this is his shit. He's like, I did that. I fucking did that shit. But yeah, he's pushing this along, too. A whole ass fucking bailout for Argentina. I wasn't sure if I was going to cover it, but I'm like, no, we definitely have time, and I want to. Especially, too, this added provision that we're going to get to. But instead, as he sat for lunch with his Argentine counterpart, Javier Milei, Trump said in no uncertain terms that the injection of U.S. dollars was about bolstering a top ideological ally who faces a political reckoning. And he was explicit that the U.S. economic support is conditional on Milei remaining in power. If he wins, we're staying with him, Trump said in the cabinet room, betraying little concern about the blowback for the infusion of cash his officials insist is not a bailout. And if he doesn't win, we're gone. So AKA, he's basing this all on these elections that are coming out, saying, hey, if you don't back, Milei's people, people who are going to support Milei, if you go with the fucking leftists or whatever, those radicals, then the money that we're going to be giving you, we're reneging on that. We're taking that back. Which I'm like, I don't know how you make this deal work. I mean, I'm sure that they've got a way to pencil this all out so this all works. From what I've understood, we are essentially giving them $20 billion, and then they're giving us like their currency, and essentially that's gonna be a loan that they're gonna pay us back. And that also economists are saying, and this isn't something I'm pulling from the article, but this is just stuff I've gathered, that's not going to work. Like that is maybe not a drop in the bucket. Maybe it's bigger than that, but it's not enough to turn the tide here. And yes, has Javier Milei's like austerity measures have some good? Are there pros to this? Yes, but there's also a lot of cons that people in Argentina are facing and feeling right now. Just like all the fucking economic turmoil that we're going through here. I've said this before. All around the world, people are feeling that shit one way or another. And in Argentina, that shit is going really bad. And people are saying, Milei, you promised us fucking like actual prosperity here, and all we're doing is writhing in fucking pain. What are we doing? What's the move here? And essentially, this is the Trump administration going to bat for Milei and saying, hey, you guys got to make that work, which to me feels like a fucking bribe. Like if it literally feels like you were trying, like almost akin to like how Elon Musk is like going around during Trump's election being like, hey, you can enter the sweepstakes and we're not actually buying your vote, but like you gotta like say you're gonna vote for Trump and like, we're gonna do a whole raffle thing. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be like a little light million for you. But like that's essentially what he is trying to do to a whole country, it seems. I mean, maybe I'm crazy for that. Am I out of pocket? By all means, sound off, I guess, in the comments, but it's wild to me that this is another thing that dawned on me too, and I think that this has been apparent. I'm just kind of seeing it and saying it to myself out loud. But this Javier Milei is the new Trump of the tropics. Like, I mean, Jair Bolsonaro, he's done. I mean, it's kind of over for him. I mean, maybe he won't get like, prison time. Maybe he gets to be at home or whatever. Maybe he gets an appeal. I don't fucking know. But he looks pretty cooked. And I do think that Trump likes to have someone who's like a mini him, especially in South America. He likes to have that strong man that essentially was a strong man of his rib. And I mean, Javier Milei, Kroger brand fucking Wolverine, he fits that bill, like this radical, I'm a libertarian style, I hate the politicians, even though I am a politician. Also, another thing, too, that isn't in this article, there, like I said, there are some pros to this austerity shit that Milei is doing. But once again, him saying he's not of this political sphere is something that I think a lot of people bought into from Argentina. But then seeing him and seeing the people he's installed already do fucking, at least allegedly, schemes, scandals. Like, they're already doing fucking bullshit that's bad for the fucking country. It's like, oh, so you guys are the same. There's nothing different here. Like, and I think that's also making people mad as they are gearing up for this election fucking season. So, I mean, obviously I hope that there is a reckoning here for Milei, and I mean, we'll see. I think this is a terrible ass fucking idea from the Trump administration to say, hey, we're gonna put our fucking wallet where our mouth is, I guess, like our money where our mouth is. I don't know like, what the fucking phrase is right now, but like that's crazy. Like, and I like that. See, I'll give CNN their flowers here. To do it in the middle of a fucking shutdown is insane. Oh, also, I did find it while I was trying to scroll through it. The legislative elections are on October 26th. So once again, this would be just like a referendum, whatever the fucking word is, on Milei. And that's why Trump is saying, you got to pick who Milei would want. You got to do that. Or I'm taking this money because if we lose Milei, you lose that money is essentially what Trump is trying to say here. Which it's just a weird, crazy, strong arm tactic. It's gross. I think it's fairly disgusting, but it is oh so American. Like, Trump is king at saying the shit out fucking loud, Like, it is this shit that all of our American leaders have been trying to set up and do in one way or another, either lightly or with a heavy hand. Trump is just saying it and doing it out loud. It sucks and it's disgusting and it's just like, but it is America, unashamed. And also I just randomly thinking about Trump's beautiful body. Hopefully you saw that Time magazine fucking photo. Trump was not a fan. He's like, you took the worst fucking photo of me ever. I'm paraphrasing. But yeah, I mean, they got that Nakusi out. And boy, is that hair not looking great. That was not his angle. But yeah, let's see here. That's more or less all I wanted to say about the Argentina. I can't fucking talk anymore. I'm losing my voice. Argentina bailout. Catalina wine mixer. I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our last break. And then I got some bad news for for the protein heads, because protein is all the rage. I gotta say, I mean, even I have fallen victim to protein with my pursuit of the David bar, because I just had to know what was the secret. I'm still searching, but I mean, I did get my David bar. Also, when I was at the bougie Kroger the other day near my job, they had multiple David bars. I was so tempted, but I'm so poor, so I didn't buy. But anyway, let's take our last break, and we gotta talk about some bad protein news. Okay. From ZBS News. Some protein powders, shakes contain high levels of lead and other metals. Consumer Report finds. Now, I was gonna just bring this like straight from the source, but Consumer Resource or reports or whatever, they talk really long. So I was like, let's actually, once again, shout out to Barry Weiss News, CBS News. They condensed it a bit. So anyway, I'm just gonna get to this highlight portion. The products that Consumer Reports found contained the highest amount of lead were Naked Nutrition's Vegan Mass Gainer and Huel's Black Edition, which the report categorized as products to avoid. There's a full list of products of the products tested that can be found in the report. But yeah, essentially, from Consumer Reports, they found that 23 protein powders and shakes, a range of dairy, beef, and plant-based protein supplements, and they found that more than 2/3 of the products contain more lead in a single serving than what experts say is safe to consume, which is about 0.5 micrograms per day, which is crazy that you can tank 0.5 micrograms of lead per day. That seems like some fallout damage. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that had me thinking. I really don't take many supplements. I try just to keep it pretty natty. That being said, I've heard rumors and speculations of, you gotta be crazy. You gotta be aware of like lead in your creatine. And I'm like, ugh, I mean, I'm getting Walmart brand shit, brother. So if I'm taking some lead, I'm taking some lead. I don't know, man. Do it for the gains. But it's crazy. I will say it feels crazy. I don't know, maybe not. That like this isn't a recall, by the way. I gotta stress that. And Huel has come out. I believe also Naked Nutrition has also come out as well. In a statement to CBS News on Tuesday, Huel's head of nutrition, Rebecca Williams, said its products fully comply with international food safety regulations and are completely safe to consume. Excuse me. Trace amounts of lead occur naturally in some food ingredients. The level reported by Consumer Reports for Huel Black Edition is well within internationally recognized safety limits and poses no health risk, the statement said. We carry out regular testing with accredited independent laboratories to ensure our products consistently meet the highest standards of quality and safety. So, I mean, that's their rebuttal to the news, to the allegations. A Naked Nutrition spokesperson told Consumer Reports it sources ingredients from select suppliers that provide documentation showing they were checked for heavy metals. So, I mean, hey, they're saying they're doing their due diligence here and that it is okay to be ingesting the amount of lead that potentially might be in their product. But I think anyone hearing this would be concerned, should be concerned. I won't tell you what to do with this one. You know what I'm saying? As this is not an official recall or anything like that. And y'all know I'm no fucking expert. But that's a bummer to hear, right? I don't think anyone wants to hear the thing that they may or may not be ingesting, maybe think about ingesting or is adjacent to, has lead in it. It makes you wonder. It makes you go, oh shit, is that in my stuff? Am I tanking some lead? Is this how I go out for some gains for the pump? And I mean, look, y'all, I gotta level with you, but just me. This is me being personal. Maybe I might. Like, if you told me you're giving me the scenario, hey, take this product. It's got some lead in it. It's got maybe some not so good things, but you take it. You keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna be so swole. You're gonna be so fucking svelte. I'm taking it. I'm once again Kirby on the beat. I'm sucking that up. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, shit. I'm one unfortunate running from maybe doing like some other things that maybe I shouldn't do. No, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. And I'm joking. It's a joke. I would never. Natty all day. All right, no. Anyway, that's it. That's all I really have. I wanted to talk about those few stories, and I found a way to talk about this for about 40 minutes. Sorry about that. But I mean, hey, some of my dear listeners, they love it. They love when I go long. They love when I yap. They say it's the greatest thing. Many people. No, all right, that's it. That's all I have. Let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. All the stars on Spotify. All the stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you don't do any of that, that's okay. There's no problems with that. I really appreciate a person who has listened, even if you listen one time, even if you never get to this point where I do all this extra talking, that's okay. You're dope. You're a star in my eyes. If you have made it this far and you make it this far consistently and you say, I'm going to listen to everything because maybe there's an extra little piece of news or maybe he's going to say something cute or something, or I want my smooch. That's awesome. I love that. I do it for you. I do it for you. Anyway, that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.